Meeting of the Cape Coral City Council. Today is October 2nd, 2024. This meeting now comes to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Gunter.
Here.
Council members Carr.
Here.
Cosden. Here. Hayden.
Here.
Long. Here. Shepherd.
Here.
Steinke.
Here.
Welsh.
Here.
All present.
Okay, item 4, citizens' input time and maximum 60 minutes is set for the input of citizens on matters concerning city government, 3 minutes per individual. Please remember to state your name for the record. Utilize the podium to my left, your right. Seeing no citizens' input is now closed. We'll move on to item 5, is legislative public hearings. First of which is ordinance 59-24. Madam City Clerk, please read title.
Ordinance 59-24, an ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Cape Coral, Florida, to establish and levy ad valorem taxes within the corporate limits of the City of Cape Coral, Florida for the tax year 2024, providing for the levy of ad valorem taxes in the amount of 5.2188 mils, based on the assessed value on non-exempt real and personal property located within the city limits of the City of Cape Coral, providing for the levy of ad valorem taxes in the amount of 0.1791 mils, based on the assessed value of the appropriate real and personal property located within the city limits of the City of Cape Coral for funds for annual debt service for the City of Cape Coral, Florida General Obligation Bond, Bank of America, Series 2019, and the City of Cape Coral, Florida General Obligation Bonds, Series 2021, providing for the manner of assessment and collection, providing severability, and repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance, providing an effective date.
Thank you. Mr. Mason.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, council members, Mark Mason, Financial Service, Interim Assistant City Manager. It'll still take a little while. Just as a reminder to everyone, this was originally scheduled for September 26th, 2024. It was postponed to tonight's date as a result of Hurricane Helene. And all the notices and everything that's statutorily required for this was posted and advertised for this meeting. Tonight, we're going to be going over 2 different ordinances. Ordinance 59-24 is the adoption of the millage rates, and then we'll be doing separately Ordinance 60-24, which is the adoption of the final budget. Pursuant to statute, we must adopt the millage rates first before we adopt the final budget. So the trim notice for the tentative millage rates went out with a not-to-exceed rate of 5.2188 mils. And on the first public hearing in September, the City Council approved the tentative millage rate at 5.2188 mils. 5.2188 mils is 2.55% increase over the rollback rate of 5.0888 mils, and the proposed millage rate for the Parks Obligation Bond is 0.179 mils. So tonight, we'll be adopting the general operations millage rate of 5.2188 mils and the debt service millage rate of 0.1791 mils. So at the conclusion of this public hearing, again, as a reminder, we must adopt this ordinance prior to adopting Ordinance 60-24. Ordinance 60-24 will be a separate presentation. And I'm here for any questions or discussion you have.
Thank you. I now open up the second and final public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on ordinance 59-24, please come forward. Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Is there a motion regarding ordinance 59-24?
Motion to adopt ordinance 5924, setting the operating millage rate at 5.2188 mils, which is a 2.55% increase over the rollback rate of 5.0888 mils, and the millage rate of the Parks General Obligation Bond at .1791 mils.
Do I have a second? Councilmember Steinke? Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Long. Aye. Shepherd. Aye. Steinke.
Aye.
Welsh.
Aye.
Carr.
Aye.
Cosden. Aye. Gunter.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
8 ayes, motion carried.
Okay, move on to ordinance 60-24. Madam City Clerk, please read the title.
Ordinance 60-24, an ordinance of the Mayor and City Council of the City of Cape Coral, Florida, adopting the City of Cape Coral operating budget, revenues and expenditures, and capital budget for the fiscal year 2025 for the City of Cape Coral, Florida, repealing all ordinances in conflict with this ordinance, providing for severability and an effective date.
Thank you, Mr. Mason.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, council members, Mark Mason, Interim Assistant City Manager. Ordinance 60-24 is the adoption of the final budget. Fiscal year 2025 tentative budget was approved by the City Council. It's on September 12th at $1,058,403,269. It will fund a number of items within the for the organization, to include in public safety, providing for $16.6 million for a North Cape Public Safety Complex, design for Fire Station 5 for rebuild and the design and engineering, sidewalk expansion for school zones at $2.5 million, and including a 10% raise for police officers, sergeants, and lieutenants. It also provides infrastructure improvements, a number of infrastructure improvements, the continuation of the city fiber and wireless at $2.3 million. This is the third year out of 4 years for this program. Also funds the expansion of the well fields for the North RO treatment plant, for the expansion of the North RO treatment plant, which also is included in this program to add an additional 8 MGD. We also have a number of other wastewater treatment plans included in this budget. Parks, we have facility renewal and replacements, Operation Sparkle, an additional $2.2 million. J.C. Park Shoreline is included in here. That amount will be updated based upon the actual approval of the contract. Cape Coral Sports Complex Facility expansion at $2 million. And we also have acquisition of the old golf course at $18.4 million. We also have some environmental changes, median beautification and landscaping. We have a $40 million project for an irrigation water conveyance, and CDBG grant is also included in here for weir rehabilitation at $10.8 million. At the conclusion of this public hearing, the ordinance 60-24, City Council must adopt a final budget. So I'm here for any questions you have.
Thank you. I now open up second and final public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak on ordinance 60-24, please come forward.
Lori Lehman. Quick question on the parks, the shoreline, the 12 million. That's in addition to the 18 million for J.C. Park?
It is not.
That's part of the 18 million.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak during public hearing? Seeing none, public hearing is now closed. Is there a motion regarding ordinance 60-24?
Motion to adopt ordinance 60-24, establishing the operating and capital budget at $1,058,403,269.
Second.
Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Long.
Aye.
Shepherd. Aye. Steinke.
Aye.
Welsh.
Aye.
Carr.
Aye.
Cosden. Aye. Gunter.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
8 ayes, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mason. Time and place of future meeting, we have a committee of the whole scheduled for Wednesday, October 9th, 2024, beginning at 9 a.m. here in council chambers. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.